Welcome to Unity of Bellingham. I'm Reverend Frank. I'm the minister today. And our service assistant is Diane Castro-Wehr. Not only our service assistant today, but also the chaplain who will be around after service for personal prayer in the chaplain building over here. And today we have our own Diane and Marcia doing our music for today. Yeah. And special music by JP Falcon. Yeah, RADY. So, yeah. As we get started, just a special note. Today is the first Sunday of Advent. So you'll notice we have our Advent wreath set up, and we'll be incorporating Advent now for the next 4 weeks, right up to the run-up of Christmas. So today the theme is expectation, faith, and a deep, deep question. What do you desire? What do you desire? What do you desire? And this will be the theme running through today's service. So we start with some music.
Yes. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen.
Let's take a few moments to settle into our chairs and into a space for some quiet reflection. Taking a deep breath and going inward. I invite you to land in this present moment now. And if you can take a moment to think about a person or a situation that might be in need of prayer at this time, I invite you to say their names out loud. We hold a vision of divine good unfolding in this circumstance. We can do that for others, holding a vision of divine good. And sinking a little further into this quiet place in your heart, we begin our Advent journey together. Let's say an affirmation. Assured in trust and faith, I begin this Advent journey. Together, assured in trust and faith, I begin this Advent journey. As Advent begins, I welcome the opportunity to reflect more deeply on what I desire and affirm for my life and for the good of all. Within me are the seeds of possibility. What do I hope to birth and bring forth in my life? How do I participate in birthing a kinder, more loving, and just world? Through my divine faculty of imagination, my patterns of desire and aspiration begin to sprout. I nurture my desires by trust and faith. And in this, the seeds take root and grow. We attend this process by watching and waiting. Advent is a time that calls us to a certain alertness and attention to an unfolding mystery. Although we know our desires, we cannot always see the path forward clearly. Trust and faith are required. We join with others on this path. It is a mystical path, peppered with divine encounters in surprising, subtle, and sometimes not so subtle ways. While on the outside, the depth of our trust and faith may not be visible, we may even appear to be wandering. But we know we are journeying on a divine path. Discerning is what is ours to do, and leaving the rest to Spirit, we can continue on. We do what is ours to do, and we continue on. In trust and faith, we are drawn in, sustained, and wrapped in a holy mystery. So please dig in, watch, and stay awake. We say our affirmation again. Assured in trust and faith, I begin this Advent journey together.
All right. Good morning. I know your time on earth was trouble. Only you could know the pain. You weren't afraid to face the devil. You were no stranger to the rain. Oh, rest high on the mountain. Oh, your word on earth is true. Go to heaven shouting love for the Father and the Son. Oh, how we wept the day you left us, gathered round your grave to grieve. How I wish I could see the angels' faces when they hear your sweet voice sing. Go rest high on the mountain. Oh, your word on earth is true. Go to heaven shouting love for the Father and the Son. Go to heaven shouting love for the Father and the Son.
Thank you. Today's talk is a bit of, always sometimes like to tell you where everything's coming from, then we'll just jump in. But take a little Charles Fillmore, take a little Gospel of Luke, take a little of Jesus speaking Aramaic. Yeah, take a little of discussions we've all had. Take the ideas of the Christmas season that's gone on for thousands of years. Oh, but the ideas are much older than that. Put it all in a blender. Okay, here's the talk. That's where it comes from. So we start with the Gospel of Luke. So we're working up our way to Christmas, and you can kind of tell how we're getting there because each week another candle, and this week we actually have a fourth Sunday of Advent. Last year, it was the same day as Christmas, so we didn't get it. But and when I was little, I used to see the candles and think like, oh, I can't wait, because as the candles get closer and we get to Christmas, it's Christmas present time. And as I got older, I looked at the candles and went like, only that many shopping weeks left. And now I'm at a place where I just look at the candles and I think each one is such a precious opportunity to dive in and learn. And so this first week, I want to share with you this piece. It comes from the Gospel of Luke. It's the very first chapter, and we know the story. Oh, we know we've grown up with this story, and it starts with this young girl, really. Her name is Mary, and she has a vision from an angel, and this angel is Gabriel. And you might want to think of this angel, Gabriel, as symbolic of this person that says, or this idea that you get in your soul that says, you're going to say yes. You want to do this. I'm telling you, this will set your life on fire. Oh, this is good. And when you hear this, you're going to want to say yes. Gabriel is the energy of the passion in our hearts that shows up and we go, oh, that's good. Let's do that. Not that we don't hear this thing that gets us excited and then the very next thing we say is, yeah, but there's a problem. Yeah, but oh, that sounds great, but is that realistic? And all these other kind of things we say. And this angel Gabriel shows up to this young girl and he says, wow, you are so special. Something great is going to happen to you. You're going to have a child. And this child is going to be known as this wonderful person. And starts to exclaim in a language that someone of the time would understand. It's going to be like, he's going to be like this ruler in the house of David. And everyone at the time would understood like that's the gold standard of ruler, and we'll get rid of the Romans and we'll have our own ruler and we'll be more peace and we'll be more aligned and we won't feel so put upon by things and events of the world that we don't want. And he says, and this is going to happen and you're going to birth this child. And you might think of historically, if you want to read this historically, but birth a child or we don't read these stories necessarily historical, right? And all these characters, we say this all the time. Who is this about? It's about us. Oh, you can think about a child marrying an angel 2,000 years ago, but this is what's going on in our soul. This story is about us. And we have this visitation by Gabriel. You're going to want to hear this. This is good. This is juicy. This is fertile. This is going to change your life. This is your passion. Listen to this. And you're going to birth something. And it's going to be aligned with something amazing. And then Mary goes, yeah, but there's a problem. I've never even known a man. What do you mean I'm pregnant? How is that even possible? He says, what was the message? You need to trust. You trust what I'm telling you here. I know you don't get how. I know you don't get it. That's okay. Trust in this and get excited because something's going to happen. And Mary says at the end of this long piece about this angel telling her all these things that she doesn't understand. And what does she say? Yeah, not me. No. Yeah, that doesn't work. No, she doesn't say that. She goes, yeah, I'll and then the words are, I am the handmaid of the divine. Let it be unto me as you say. Or in other words, yeah, man, okay, that sounds good. Let's do it. I'll be a servant. I don't get, from my ego consciousness, I don't get how this is going to work. But there's a part of me in my soul that gets it. This is what's mine to do. Let's do that. And that saying that says, there is something in my soul, I hear it, that Gabriel, let's not think of it as an angel that comes from some other place that comes down and actually talks to us. The angel, the Gabriel, is in all of us. It's that voice that's saying, I've got something for you. And it's a voice of desire. And we can trust that. And so that voice comes and to each of us, and that Gabriel says, yeah, let's align with that. So we get it in our soul. And we start getting this sense of, what does this look like? You gave me this idea, this pattern, this outpicturing, this sort of shady, like, here's how it's gonna look. It's like you're gonna have a child and they're gonna do great things. Now, what exactly that looked like in reality, how it outpictures into form, not sure yet. Have an inkling. But the important thing was understood the idea, the pattern, this event, this energy that said something's gonna happen. Okay, there's the Luke. Now a little Charles Fillmore for you. Charles Fillmore, I just love this. This is amazing. At the time when Charles Fillmore was writing in Unity, and you remember this sort of history, that it was the scientific revolution. And a big part of what the Fillmores wanted to do, and the New Thought teachers at the time wanted to do, is say, we are so into this thing where we had this traditional Christianity, this traditional religiosity, and yet there's also these new breakthroughs in science. And if you knew the principle, if you know how flotation works, it doesn't matter. You can build a boat according to the principle and the law of flotation, and it will float every single time. You can trust in it. If you get aligned in your mind with the great principles and you look at a specific principle, the mind, the idea, the specific idea, and then it expresses, it always works. If you know the law of, we've talked about this, if you know the law of aviation, you can build a plane and it will fly. Every time I get on Southwest, I go, this is the right law, right? And it works every time. Unless a bird flies in the engine or something. But basically, the principle works. Mind, idea, expression. And so the Fillmores took this idea of mind, idea, and you were kind of thinking, this is what we know in science. This is how it works in principle. This always works in physics. It always works in chemistry. It always works in engineering. We know how to do this. So that was really exciting. It was exciting to me. But sometimes I'm not in the mood to think in terms of, scientific mind and principle and stuff. It works, and that's great. But then there was this other sense of it. I got a lot of this. This was a way of mastery. We were talking about way of mastery that day. Instead of mind, idea, expression, what if we think in terms of heart? Instead of mind, capital M as God, capital H, heart. The divine heart. The heart of God, the heart is God, heart, God, synonymous. This divine heartness, soulness, instead of having ideas, desires. Heart desires, and what it desires expresses. And I want to see there's like a thread that goes through this. This heart desires, and there's like an energy, a vibration that goes right through that then goes into the expression. It's all one. So we want to think of like our heart desires, expresses. It's not that. It's all one. And when we think divine heart, divine desire, divine expression, and we align with that, what does my heart desire to be expressed? And it's not like the heart is the divine, the desire is something divine once, and then expression, well, let's see what happens. It's all a thread of the one. It's all one. The outpicturing, the expression of the one is still divine. You, divine people that you are, being expressed from the heart of God, every single one. It's not like God's out there desiring us over here. It's all aligned. It's really fascinating. Charles Fillmore, he talks about the whole story is about faith. And he says, I love this. And I've read it so many times. I remember being in ministry school, I'd read things like this from Fillmore. Faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. Yeah, well, what does that mean? But I go over it and over it. And one thing that helps me, that might help you, because he always talks about this power of the mind links to power that shapes substance. And I used to always say, well, what is substance? Let me give you a metaphor that might help you understand this better. Do many of you know traditional Chinese medicine, and you know this thing called the qi? Everyone familiar with qi? See, we know qi. Substance, what does that mean? But, when we get acupuncture, we go, it's enlivening my qi. Or we talk about practices that elevate our energy, the qi energy, like qigong, tai chi, it's in there. It's like we're playing with this idea of the qi. And the interesting thing about the qi is we say, it's this energy of life. And it is energy. It's also matter. It's energy matter. Matter energy. Einstein, energy equals a constant times matter. E equals mc squared. Energy and matter, you go back and forth. And so the qi of things is like the expression, the substance, the power, the perceiving power of mind, the perceiving energy of our heart to actually see the pattern and to shape the substance of our world, the experience of our world. If I want to use those terms, I go, the Tao has the pattern of the Leigh, and the Leigh expresses in the Qi. That's for another talk. Mind, idea, expression. Heart has a pattern, an energy, a desire that transforms into the expression. And then the very next sentence of Fillmore, this is what I love. Let's see if we can get this better. This paragraph I like. It's a magnetic power that draws unto us our heart's desire, and it works in the invisible spiritual substance. Faith. This is faith. Faith says that I understand this process, that what my heart desires can then outpicture into some pattern that expresses in the world. And here's the thing, we do this all the time. We are faith people. Constantly, what we hold in mind, in our hearts, in our souls, in our mind, whatever metaphor works better for you, leads us into different ideas, different perceptions, different patterns, different senses of what we want in our life, what we want in the life of the world, what we want, how we imagine the world to be, and that's going to have energy that's going to manifest in the world. We're manifestors. We can't help it. We just manifest all the time. And so if we see what's manifesting, we go, maybe what's manifesting in my life is not something I want. Well, we could ask the question, where, like, somewhere there's a mind that's creating ideas, that's out-picturing that way. And if it's what I want, then we want to get aligned with it. And if it's not what we want, we ask the question, well, where are the energies coming from that this thread is following through? And I go, wait a second, because and here, so where does it come from? Where does it come from? I'm going to give you one more. This is part 3, and this is Aramaic Jesus. Because one of the things that really helped me understand this piece of faith, like I want to faith it. I want to outpicture it. I want what I outpicture to be aligned with the divine mind. And what is that? I want it to be compassion. I want it to be abundance. I want it to be creativity. I want it to be colorful. I want it to be full. I want it to be interesting. I want it to be exciting. I want it to be curious. I want it to be uplifting. I want it to create friendship. I want it to be something that involves love. I want it to be something that grows community. I want it something that brings happiness. If we want all these things, why? So where does these other things go? We have to align with the divine mind, divine ideas, divine experience. We need to align our heart with divine heart, the heart of the divine, so that the patterns we perceive, the energies we perceive are aligned with that, so that what moves in the world of spiritual substance, the chi, the energy, the outpicturing is all in alignment. And faith says we can create that world for ourselves. And Jesus, and I know we did this last week, and it's always so interesting because remember, that Jesus spoke Aramaic. And then the people who spoke Aramaic later wrote down what he said in Greek. And more recently in the contemporary movement, and many scholars have gone back to the Greek, but for many years they took the Greek and they translated it into Latin. And then they took the Latin and translated it into German, and that they translated into English. You see the problem? So we had this thing that said, blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. And there's people like, one of the people I like, his name's Neil Douglas Klotz, and he's a scholar who was back, and he says, well, I'm going to go back to the very Latin word, to the Greek, what it was written in Greek, and I'm going to do what I know, and there's scholars that can say, here's what it might have sounded like, here's what Aramaic speakers from 2,000 years ago, what it sounded like, and you can take the ancient Greek and make a good guess. An honest, like, it would have sounded something like this and meant something like this in Aramaic. And it would have sounded maybe something like this. Tubuayun lelain, dekem lebon, dichanon, nezun le'alaha. Blessed are the pure in heart, they will see God. Tubuayun lelain, dekem lebon, dichanon, nezun le'alaha. And if you look at it back in Aramaic and then bring that forward and say, what all might that mean? Ripe. You are so ripe, Tuwayun. You're so abundant, you're so full. When they said pure of heart, and one of the things pure of heart might mean is it's not distracted. It's not diluted. It's the essence is totally full with what our heart wants. This, and one of the ways he translates this is Neil Douglas Klotz, as he said, how ripe you are when your desire, this pureness, is electrified for your purpose. How ripe you are when your desire is electrified for your purpose, and then you'll see God everywhere. Wait, let me say that again. How ripe you are, how full you are, how complete we can be when we're electrified in our passions that will align with our purpose. And then when our passions are aligned with our purpose, we see God everywhere, which I like better than blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. When our desires are electrified. And you see, this is the idea of faith, that in our hearts, we have desires. And these desires are electrified. Like plug them in, electrified. And they're aligned with the purpose of our life. And when that happens, we see God everywhere. And so when so the question is, how do we electrify? How do we plug it up? So here's what I want to leave you with today. I want you to say this with me to get a feel. I asked Jesus in prayer, is this kind of what you said? Is this what it would have sounded like? And Jesus laughed and said, good enough. That's good. Try it. I said, all right. So in our Aramaic here in Bellingham, Washington, 2,000 years later, repeat after me. Tubwayun, Lelaine, Dikain, Blebon, Dihanon, Nezun, Allah. And you remember Allah, the Aramaic word for God. Yeah. When you're aligned with your passion, you're electrified. You're electrified. You see God everywhere. Everywhere. So this week I asked myself, okay, I want to know what desire is in my heart. What desire is in my heart? Now, side note, you might be going, oh, if you knew the stuff I was desiring, you wouldn't think it was also, yeah. Yeah, I know. We're human. A white Tesla, yeah. But thanks for saying that. Because remember, this is not, so thanks. And this has to do with prayer. Let me mention this. If you have a desire and you're saying, my heart is desiring this over here, remember, there's a pass-through. My heart desires this pattern, this energy, this vibration, this goodness, this fullness, this passion of my life. And that passion expresses into the material or into the emotional plane. But we don't want to go, I desire this over here and skip this middle part. As a matter of fact, I think, I invite you to play with this idea. I think sometimes in a sense of prayer, what we're thinking is I want in my prayer life, I envision that, but we skip this middle part that says I want the pattern. So white Tesla, pick what you want, a white Tesla, a house. If we're thinking over here, we want to ask the question, well, what is the pattern? What's the vision? What's the energy? What's the vibration? What's beyond the thing? The thing is the manifestation. What is coming from the heart of God that brings this desire? What's the desire about? And you might say, white Tesla. Well, then you step back and you go, why? What's the roots of that? What's going behind? I want to see a world where climate is managed, where our environment is clean, where cars are not so loud, where there's a new emerging economy, that it's a green economy, and there's windmills and there's wind and solar and there's green energy and it's non-polluting and there's not smoke. There's this world I envision, and one way I envision that is, one possible manifestation is a white Tesla. And we say this prayer, sometimes you go, this or something better. Why do we say this or something better? Because the point is, what's the vision? What's the pattern? What's the ideal? What is that? And then we can be surprised at what outpictures. And sometimes we can say, maybe I don't have to say exactly how that's going to show up. Maybe get out of how it's going to show up and move back into the energy. And then if you move back even more and go, where I really want to start is my heart aligned with the heart of the divine? And how do I do that? We know. Practice, prayer, meditation, quiet, contemplation, sitting in the silence, having fun, doing joyful things. There's a lot of ways that we find we connect from the heart. So I want to end this here with a little faithing process. Because remember, you say, what is it? This is the faith process. Faith, we just read, is when the heart's desires, the heart of the, I'm going to read it one more time. Charles Fillmore defines faith. Magnetic power that draws onto us our heart's desires and draws it right into the spiritual substance, into the chi. Our heart's desires into the chi. We know this happens. We align with it happening. So we align our heart and we trust that the outpicturing is good. This universe is conspired for our good. So align with that. Align with that. Remember, I said it's conspired for our good. Doesn't always mean we like what happens. That's not the point. Lots of times we don't like what happens. Lots of times we're comfortable and sometimes we're not. Sometimes I'm happy, and sometimes I'm like, that's not the promise. The promise is it's conspiring, that it's unfolding for our good. And we stay aligned with that energy. Why? It happens when we trust our desires and we're attuned with this heart that's desiring. And then we see. And you can say, do we really know what we desire? Deeply, deeply desire. Do we? Have we sat down and journaled and asked ourselves a deep question? What right now do I really desire? Not stuff. What pattern does our heart want to make in areas of creativity and community and compassion and love and relationships and abundance and happiness and fulfilling our life purpose? So if you'd be willing, close your eyes for a second and just settle your feet on the floor, and let's let your heart, all your attention sink into that, what I might call the temple of your heart. I read the other day, someone called it the ashram of your heart. You might imagine a chapel, a small, beautiful candlelit chapel, that place in your heart. Take a breath and be in that place of connection with the divine, that place of oneness, a place where you know deeply that sense of connectedness at your essence, the divine presence as living through you, breathing you. The same presence that's beating your heart, that's breathing your breath, that's pumping your blood, that's ever present as your being itself, that divine presence. And from that place, ask a very simple question. What do I really desire? What do I desire for myself? Where's the energy bubbling up? What do I desire for myself, for my next steps, for the way I want to show up? Yeah, breathe into that. What do I truly desire for myself? And then letting our vision expand. What do I truly desire for us? And us may be, what do I desire for my relationship or my family? What do I truly desire for my Unity of Bellingham community? If something bubbles up right away, great. If something is not bubbling up for you right away, be curious. It's there. This flow of the divine that shows up as your heart's desire, it's there. I want to open to it. Allow the desire from the divine flowing through us, from our heart, into our temple, into the patterns that we perceive. This perceiving power of the divine in our hearts. This is faithing our world, faithing it. What do I desire for Unity of Bellingham? And then allow our minds to expand just a little bit more. What do I desire for the world of my construct and for the planet? go I, we, and then in all of it, what do I desire for this world I'm in? We are each here in this time, in this place, right now. It's not an accident. We've been called to this time. We've been called to this place. We've been called to play the game of consciousness now. So let's play. What do we desire? Allow Spirit to seed your soul with desire. What do I desire? And as you sit in this energy, maybe something rose up for you, for your desire for yourself, for the community, for the world, for the planet. But if something didn't come up, be curious. Spirit wants to speak and move through you, with you, and as you. So open now, friends, to this place of desire. And so shrug your shoulders. Release them. When you're ready, open your eyes. And when that desire comes, when that vision comes, when that voice comes, the invitation is to be like Mary when Gabriel came to her. And when you hear it go, you can say, do unto me, I'm the handmaid, do unto me as you will. Or what I would say is, yeah, man, let's do that. Trust it. Trust it. This is faithing. Listen to that desire of your heart. Trust that. Be aligned. Be electrified in your passion for your purpose. Yeah. And what will happen when you do? Here's the promise. You will see God where? Everywhere. And so it is. Yeah. A couple, quick announcements. Today there's a potluck, as you know. I saw a lot of people bringing some great food. So right after we're going to the service, we'll need some people to set up tables real quick. You know the routine. And then we'll grab your food and we'll sit down, and JP has a chance to eat really quick if he wants. But then we have a concert. And once the concert starts, just a note, once the concert starts, all the food stops, and we'll just have a chance. And then as soon as the concert's over, we're going to really quickly do a bunch of things. We're going to be really grateful, and we're going to be in a great mood. And so then some of the trees are already up, but we got a whole hallway of decorations need to go up. And you know we've been saying there's a bunch of things we're going to do today after service. One of them is painting the kitchen, but turns out, and you should go check it out, Jane and Jim already came in and painted the kitchen on Thursday. I like the color. Yeah, it's a good color. Yeah, it's so clean and nice. Oh, it's just wonderful. Anyhow, this Wednesday is Lost in Light Contemplative Service. On the 13th, Friday night's the radio show with Kathy, the Christmas carol. And 13th, 13th. The 24th is our, I said 3:30 the other day, but it starts at 4 o'clock, our Christmas Eve service, the 24th at 4 o'clock. And the title of our Christmas Eve service this year is Christmas Letters. Yeah.